So, here we go.
It was filled with childish frustrations and complexes. The police are searching for James Thomas.
Hello. You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. It is currently 6:06 p.m. Night Movie Gang. It's April 19th, one day before the Weed Day / Easter.
Yeah.
For those of you just tuning in, this is a show where we, generally speaking, talk about genre film, lesser known movies, like, you know, the late night. It's 2003 and you're searching through, flipping through channels and finding weird shit to watch. That's the kind of vibe we go for.
Hell yeah.
Today, the movie we're talking about certainly fits into genre elements, but this is a beast of a movie.
It does a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
This is a dense.
And
this is
most
a high
of it
dense,
well.
Yeah, this is a fucking MRE of a movie, or something better tasting than an MRE, but you know what I mean.
Trailmix.
Yeah, if you're might notice I sound a little folks at home, I might sound a little sick. I'm down with the sickness today a little bit. So so if you hear me coughing and sneezing and shitting, like, I'll shit right on the
He's gonna do it too.
Shit right.
Just
yeah,
keep listening, he'll do it.
Get the show canceled. So but yeah, no, I'm excited to talk about this movie, Sinners.
Yeah.
Sinners is a 2025 American period horror film, produced, written, and directed by Mr. Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler, who is probably most well known for directing the 2 Black Panther movies in the MCU. Yeah. I mainly know him as far as, like, the first thing I saw of his was he directed Creed or Rocky 7.
Yeah.
That was
those are the things that I knew him for. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Sinners is only his 5th movie. Like, he's had a pretty short.
Wow.
As far as feature film photography, he's 5 movies. He also seen Fruitvale Station, which is also really good, also starring Michael B. Jordan.
He really likes working with that guy.
Yeah, it's the Scorsese, DiCaprio,
Yeah.
like, you know,
De Niro, yeah.
He's his muse for sure.
Yeah, the Tarantino, Sam Jackson.
Yeah, type thing. So this movie just came out. It's come out this weekend.
Yeah.
We both
Please see it.
Please see it. Yeah, long story short, with, like, before we get into, we're gonna break down a lot of spoilery things in this movie. Sorry, my mind feels flustered, and I wish I could be more concise. But long story short is, please go support this movie.
Yes.
Overwhelmingly,
Please.
I think the thing
Show them that this is what we want.
We saw it 2 days ago, and overwhelmingly, like,
we all had a great time.
We all had a great time when we went and see. We went with both of our fiancés.
Yep.
Everybody loved it. All the critical response has been incredible. It's too early to see what the box office is going to look like, but we're crossing our fingers that we're not going to have another Mickey 17 type situation.
This has got, like, all they at, like, this movie is, like, being very well received critically, as far as I've seen. It's
got very positive word of mouth.
Yeah.
I think that the names attached to it, not just the I think that Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler have a lot of prestige attached to them in the last few years, as far as, like, they have been selling, like, names that people go to theater, especially Michael B. Jordan. I mean, that dude.
Yeah. And this movie has him twice.
Exactly, it has him twice. He's so good at playing himself twice. Which, by the way, why the fuck has this been the year of motherfuckers playing 2 of themselves?
Yeah, I wanted to say that this is officially, like, the best effect that Hollywood has to offer. Like, we have perfected it, and now we're gonna use the shit out of it, having multiple of the same person on screen. I know we've always done that in Hollywood, but, like, it's perfect now. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially
it's seamless.
With speaking of talking about Sinners and Mickey 17, especially because another thing about these movies that's great is that neither of them are super small budget movies. Sinners has an estimated reported budget of 90 and 100 million. Mickey 17, that's a little over that.
I feel like that's maybe. Well, I'm sure it's all, like, Michael B. Jordan, like, because there's a lot of stars in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a few stars. I feel like that's a lot of the cast, but, like, I feel like that feels really high for this concept of a movie.
I think that most of the money, and we're gonna get into this as far, I don't know, like, so okay. Did you do? Do you know anything about the background production of this movie at all, Joseph, or anything like
I
that?
know nothing.
I'm Before we get into our usual, like, what did you know going in? I do want to say that my assumption is that a lot of that money went into the filming, like the actual, because this movie was shot on 70 millimeter IMAX film. Like the whole movie was shot on.
Oh
a
yeah, no, I know.
combination-
This is like I was like, this is a super wide frame.
Yeah, no, it is like the ultra Panavision. So like Lawrence of
Yeah.
Arabia ass. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the last movie that was exclusively shot on this format was The Hateful Eight,
Hateful Eight, yeah.
which
And that
Tarantino
was like
was
10
also
years
known,
ago.
Yeah, no, 10 years ago, 2015, right? Hateful
Yeah,
Eight.
10 years ago. Yep.
Am I crazy? I need to
A
confirm
full
that.
decade old movie. Yeah, 2015 because I saw it when I saw it in the theater.
Not Hateful Nine. That's
Hateful Nine.
Whoops.
Yeah, can't wait for that to come out.
Let's do a double feature of Hateful Eight and The Ridiculous Six.
And the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, but I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. So like this movie Sinners, and there's a great YouTube video. Actually, like folks at home, I recommend definitely taking a look at it, and it's actually a video that got me really excited. 1 second, let me see if I can find IMAX. There's a really cool video, yeah, by Kodak, the camera company, where Ryan Coogler just kind of breaks down how they filmed the movie and also what formats you can see this movie in, because there are like 10 real 70 millimeter full IMAX theaters like across the world. That
It would have been cool. We saw it at a Cinemark.
we saw it at a Cinemark, and we saw it in like a standard ass digital screen. But there, folks
Yeah.
at home, like if you can see this in an IMAX, Dolby Cinema, whatever elevated format, the movie is kind of designed.
It's a pretty movie. Yeah.
It's a very pretty movie, but you can see, and I'm showing Joseph the video here, like that much of it is filmed. If you can see it in like an IMAX screen, and this video actually got me really excited because like Ryan Coogler very clearly has a passion for like, trying to make a movie on this, and it works too in the sense that like this movie, I noticed right off the bat as far as like how it's filmed, like, how do I put it? This might be a really fucking pretentious thing to say, but you can feel that the film watching it.
Yeah.
In the sense that like it feels very much, this movie feels like they dusted off an old film reel from like a 50s like epic or something and just like brought it to today. Like I think the film really, maybe like one could argue, and a lot of older filmmakers do argue, like I think it was David Lynch, no, Cronenberg. He said that like basically film is beautiful, but we don't need it anymore. Like Cronenberg's perspective, I was watching this interview, I forget from how long ago it was, but he basically said any of the warmth, any of the like dynamics that people swear by on film can be easily emulated, if not surpassed, with digital.
Yeah.
And he just says like but I mean, as far as like seeing, it's really cool to see a young black filmmaker be able to have access to these kind of tools that like, we had mentioned the names like Christopher. The only other guys fucking with this shit is Christopher Nolan and Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, if I had to guess where a lot of that money went, I'd assume that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the movie definitely benefits from it. This is interesting though because it's another movie shot in 70 millimeter that takes place in one building primarily.
Yeah, that's true.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
You'd think you'd have like a big, wide open spaces kind of situation.
I mean, early on in the movie, like I think of like there's a lot of beautiful landscape shots when they're driving across the cotton fields. That's fair. Stuff.
Same as Hateful Eight.
Yeah, same as Hateful Eight. Yeah, no. So I did want to ask you though to bring it back to our usual structure. What did you know about this going in? I remember the first time we saw this trailer in the theater together. The thing we both thought like, oh, it's From Dusk Till Dawn, but
yeah.
Jim
and
Crow.
Then we were like, oh, this trailer's giving away way too much. And it did, in hindsight.
So, yeah, what was your feelings going into the movie?
It looked really good. I got the trailer like 3 times in the theater, so I was kind of sick of seeing it at a certain point, but I was really expecting to like it. And then I saw that it was getting like 100% Rotten Tomatoes, and it was getting like really good reviews. So I really expected to like it, and then we went in and saw it, and I liked it way more than I even thought I would. Because I was expecting Jim Crow Dusk Till Dawn, which that's like maybe like a quarter of like the full piece of what this movie is.
That is like
this movie has a lot more to offer than what the trailer looks like it does.
That is such the surface level thing. I think that like if you go into this movie only wanting that, if you just want like, oh yeah, I want some vampire action with some like cool kind of gangster
honestly,
shit going
the
on.
Vampire action is like the part that I was least interested in, ironically.
Yeah, no, it got to a certain point where, when we were watching the movie, when and a lot of people share this sentiment, like, I forgot the vampires were going to show up.
It's like maybe like a third of the movie actually has to do with vampires. Like they're just like an element, which is really interesting.
Yeah, they're an element, and they're a lot more like, especially as I've been looking into like a lot of the themes of this movie and like what Ryan. I keep wanting to say Ryan Johnson. Every time I say Ryan, I want to say Johnson.
It's a director named Ryan.
Different guy. Ryan Coogler, a lot of like his vision of the movie, the vampires, I have my own theory as to like what the vampires necessarily represent, but the vampires are a lot more are more of a metaphor for assimilation and about the about assimilation and about the what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word. My brain's my diseased brain is escaping me. About assimilation and about just the changing of art, and about like taking art from an oppressed culture and not and not giving it its own, not giving it the respect that it deserves type of deal. There's a word I'm looking for that my brain is not picking up, but like I don't know, the vampires kind of represent that more than like necessarily being like
appropriation.
That's the word I'm looking for. A metaphor for appropriation more than anything else.
Because I mean, like not to jump too far ahead, but that's like the vampires are use like Irish music, like just utilitarian, like to draw people in and make themselves look harmless. With and without any like real interest in where that music came from.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole what was going on there specifically, and like I guess now we can like talk a little bit about the theories there. So that there's a leader vampire who, it's kind of funny, like in the trailer or in the movie,
I never heard this actor, name a single time.
Jack O'Connell, he's kind of like an unassuming, like tiny guy who looks harmless enough, who he's like the kind of vampire leader of this movie, the one who's turning everybody and making everyone join the coven. And the way that I like read it, or what I interpret it, is that he's from the old Irish times, and he wants it's hard to talk about it without getting into he wants Sammy, which we'll get into. Like Sammy basically has music and the power of music, and like
that's a big element is some people just have the ability to move people with music in like a supernatural way.
Yeah, like basically it's said right at the beginning of, it's literally the opening of the movie, is you get a little prologue with some cool little animations of like some kind of like African tribal stuff, where it's the actress who plays Annie in this movie, oh god, I should have checked names first, Wunmi Mosaku, who she was great. Basically going over like some people have the power to make music so beautiful that it can bring spirit, it can summon spirits from the past and from the future, as well as dark spirits, which leads to my favorite scene in the movie, but a scene that has not worked for some people, which we'll get to that later.
I think that's my favorite scene too, if it's the same one.
Yeah, it's a great scene, but there's been some pushback against it, which we'll talk about.
Understand.
But the whole thing is that, so Sammy, who I don't necessarily know if I call him the main character. He's the kind of the center of it. He's the MacGuffin almost.
I'd say he's one of the protagonists.
Yeah. But Sammy, who is the younger cousin of Michael B. Jordan's characters in this movie, is an aspiring blues musician who is one of these gifted souls who, I mean, and this actor, Miles Catton, which by the way, this is his first fucking movie. this actor,
Whoa.
Miles Catton. He's
Is he like an actor, but also like mostly a blues singer? Because I got that vibe. Because he's got that voice.
He doesn't even have a Wikipedia. His Wikipedia link just goes back to Sinners.
That's insane.
But so Miles Catton was or is he's one of the backup singers for Her, the artist Her, Her.
Yeah.
And she like recommended to Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, like, hey, let Miles try. Like, I think he'd be perfect for this role, type deal.
He is perfect for that role.
This is his first movie, and he has a really surprise. I remember the first time I heard him speak, and he's just got this low,
yeah,
like, voice of this tiny guy.
Perfect voice.
Yeah, and he's one of these guys who has this power. But the way I interpreted what the vampires want is Remick is from this Irish background, and he doesn't have the power that Sammy does, or maybe like only.
He does. He wants like a different kind of it, like a different culture's version. Was what I took from it.
I think of it as a thing of like he says in the movie, Remick says that like I wanna be able to rejoin my ancestors, and I'm gonna use you to do that. Yeah. Is what he told him. So either Remick doesn't have the power, or maybe and this is something that like. This is the closest thing that I can call like a complaint. I don't even want to call it a complaint necessarily, because I think it's a thing where it's like I'm really excited.
Vague.
I think it's a thing where like when we watch this movie again, which I am so excited to watch this movie with subtitles because some of the accents
are southern accents, man.
Especially Delroy Lindo's character, Delta Slim, who he's great in this movie, but he has these like gold teeth and he has this really thick. He sounds like some of my great uncles down in Mississippi. Like there's a scene where he's telling some story about a fucking thing that happened to him. Like, oh, I wish I knew what he was saying because he seems really affected by this, but I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah.
But the way I interpret it is that either Remick doesn't have the power, or if you're a vampire. You can't summon the spirits like that. Like maybe once you're a vampire, you can't. So, but then again, he was trying to turn Sammy into a vampire. So
yeah, I don't know. It was good enough for me. Like he had that power, but he was like, "I want you because you like literally brought the house down." Like he's just really really good. Like that's and I want like because what this version of vampires is, it's almost like a big cult or like a hive, like a hive mind.
I think you had mentioned when we got you would say like a Manson family.
Yeah, they're big Manson family vibes at a lot of points. Because like they're like a hippie cult.
Yeah.
But they literally assimilate their minds. Like if you make someone a vampire, you now have all that person's knowledge and like abilities and shit. Which is a really cool concept.
They're a literal hive mind, and it makes sense as to why, like, a lot of when people turn into vampires, they still retain their personalities, and when people are talking, like, oh, it's still them, but now they are just one piece of this Borg collective.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of this portrayal of vampires, though. I really liked the physical. I liked the red glow in the eyes. I thought that would be corny, but it actually looks really cool on film.
Yeah. Some of them have different colors. Like Haley Steinfeld's are almost more golden.
Yeah, and I like that, especially toward the end, they're not afraid of like making them actual monsters and just genuinely scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great, and I really like the fact that we actually use the vampire thing if they have to be invited in, because that feels like that was the core reason of making them vampires in this movie, and they really use it.
This is classic vampire rules. Like at one point somebody throws garlic juice onto a vampire and it burns their face and shit. So like this is like
they have the Thing moment where they have to eat garlic.
Exactly. That doesn't go. I thought someone was gonna be, but no, everyone was good in that scene. No. Let's break into the plot a little bit, because I do want to talk about as much as we're talking about the vampires and how vampires are the selling point of this movie. There's already just like a really cool.
It's just a good movie. If you removed the vampires, it would be a great movie.
Yeah, it's still already like the vampires are just like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so the movie starts, and it's 1932 in the Mississippi Delta, which yeah, that's another thing I want to say before we break into the plot. This movie was just so made for me.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that the whole time.
As like
this is a movie made for LC.
As like, a black musician, my mom literally, like, in her family being from Mississippi, and hearing, like, there's a lot of, like, cultural things, like the mojo bag, and, like, a lot of, like, the like haints, like, and all these terms that, like, I've heard, like, older family members talk about and, like, learned about, like, through, even in my own journeys. Like, by the way, I've only been listening to blues music the last few days.
Nice.
Fun fact, I've been listening to a lot of Buddy Guy, which Buddy Guy is a real life blues musician who has a small role in this movie, which we'll talk about. But yeah, no, just really, yeah, just this movie. I want to almost say that, like, I feel kind of biased, in that, like, it's so geared towards so many things I'm interested in. But
he loves music. This is the exact. It turns into like Dog Soldiers, but with vampires.
It turns into Dog Soldiers, but there's fucking jams, bro.
Yeah, but the music doesn't stop.
Yeah, and I will say though, like, I felt a feeling in this movie that I haven't felt since something like Get Out, in that like, it is a wonderfully made film. Like, it is a great story in and of itself, removed from any of the cultural context. Like, removing the black element, it's still like a really wonderful film. Yeah. But I feel like, and this is me talking, like, as far as like my like identity as a black person, if you're black, this movie's gonna hit you different. Just like Get Out. I think it's the same thing. Like, there is this movie, and that's something that I've seen, like, a lot of like black creators and people I follow say that, like, it's really cool to see this culture represented in like such a cool. It's cool. This movie's it's cool as fuck.
It is a cool movie.
That's really what it comes down to. Like, it really just like it.
Michael B. Jordan plays two of the coolest fucking people I've ever seen on film.
Yeah, I really want their Red Dead Redemption DLC.
Yeah,
where you play as Smoke and Stack, a co-op.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Smoke and Stack. But yeah, so speaking of which, yeah, the movie opens up. We get introduced to Smoke and Stack, who are twins, both played by Michael B. Jordan,
with the same forehead scar somehow.
With the same forehead scar somehow. Maybe in World War II they got hit with the same.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Thing. We'll see that in the prequel.
Exactly. But yeah, Smoke and Stack, who they fought in World War I, but the immediate thing is that they've been in Chicago for a few years. We learned that they have been working for Al Capone, working for gangsters in Chicago. And they're bringing back blood money.
That's hilarious. Can I just say, I can see that they're buying this club or this barn to turn into a club from a white Klansman named Hogwood, which is really funny because it's a mix of two derogatory terms for white people.
Period.
That's a really funny little Easter egg.
Yeah, that is funny. Yeah, but immediately, what's funny? I was genuinely shocked at the reveal later that, like, the Klan was going to come anyway. Yeah, like I was like, damn, like,
they didn't leave him alone.
Even after the vampire, even after all this shit where you're fighting vampires, you still got to fight the Klan afterwards.
Yeah. Surprise final action scene to jump really far ahead.
Yeah, but we're gonna get to it. But basically, yeah. So they buy this mill to turn it into a juke joint. Pretty much like half of it is like, I think part of it is like you could see it as maybe it's a scheme, because like a lot of the characters, when they're kind of, the first half of this movie is really them they've been gone for 7 years, and they've returned to this community, and I think it's actually really well thought out, the fact that like we learn about all of the characters in their vicinity, that like their cousin and like ex-girlfriends and like people in the community that they haven't seen for 7 years, and you as the audience get to catch up with what's going on through their conversations in a really organic way.
Learn who these people are and how these people know these twins. No, it's really cool. It's really good. It's just solid storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, this is usually the part of the monster movie that's like the most boring throwaway part. But honestly, like, that, like I said, I think the vampire action is like the least intriguing part for me, and it's not even bad. Like it's just the rest of the movie is really good.
Yeah, like all this build up and all this character development in this first half is just so well done. Like the first person they run into, and that's another thing too, is that I love the actual opening of this movie where you see the aftermath of everything. Like Sammy rolls up and he's covered in blood and he's got like just the neck of his guitar and he rolls into the, just so good. But the first thing is that they pick up Sammy, who is going to play at the juke joint that night. And then Smoke and Stack kind of split up on their dimensions, and you're kind of following.
And we get the band together, a
bit of a get the band together type thing. And something I want to say now about Michael B. Jordan's performance as these two characters is that I feel like whenever you have an actor playing two roles like this, like whether the immediate one that comes to my mind is, did you ever see the movie Legend with Tom Hardy?
No. Yeah, I know of it though. Yeah. Mine immediately went to the Tim Curry, Tom Cruise movie. And then I thought, wait, I Am Legend? No, that's a different too.
No, different thing. But yeah, Tom Hardy plays twins in that movie. And
a silly accent.
Yeah, he has a silly accent. But the whole thing is like, I feel like when you get actors playing these dual roles, usually one of them is like the kooky crazy one, and one of them is like really another way. And I feel like in this movie, yes, there are those differences. Like, Stack is definitely a little bit more on the crazier end and a bit more of the gangster
They have like
guy.
The same level of confidence, but they're like they're just, one's a little more cocky and one's a little more quiet about it.
Yeah, like they feel like real brothers in that sense. Like you can tell like these guys they're similar in that they grow up with each other, but they have those little differences, and it's a lot more. It makes it feel a lot more organic, and I think that's something you can really say about every character in this movie, is that everybody feels so real.
Yep.
Like all of the conflicts in the relationships between all these people feels like complicated and stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
everyone feels like a real person. It's my favorite kind of movie where like everyone feels distinct and interesting.
Yeah. Going through some of the other characters they encounter, there's a Chinese couple, Grace and Bo, who own a shop, like a grocery store in town.
Yeah, there's a really cool scene where like, where was it? Smoke is in there and he's talking to the shop owner, and he's like, well, we need to get my wife's opinion on something. So he sends his daughter across the street to the other convenience store that they own, that the white people go to.
Yeah.
And they're literally like, they're owned by the same family and they're exactly the same. It's just one has black people can go in. Yeah. Because this is Mississippi.
Yeah.
And it's all one shot following her over, and it's like, this is how close they are. It's great. It's just a nice little there's like little bits in there that like really set the scene of like, this is the Jim Crow South.
Yeah. And I feel like something I appreciated with that is that I feel like this movie doesn't do a lot of the typical kind of like torture porn shit that I see from like other movies.
Not
like
misery porn.
Yeah, like misery porn, like a movie like Till or something, where like every single scene in this movie where they were driving through the through all the cotton fields, I'm like, they're gonna get pulled over by the cops and some shit's gonna, and because that's what would happen in like a movie, but it never does. And really, like, the KKK, the N-word is not said by a white person really until the last 10 minutes of the movie, and then those Klansmen get immediately killed. But it still reminds you like of the realistic elements of the world they're in without without harping on
like this. Yeah, it's like consistent oppression. Like it's like background radiation the whole time. Like it's just inescapable.
Yeah. There's also another really cool. I thought you were going to talk about when Smoke pays a girl to watch the truck for him, and he's like, if anybody
I love that.
Tries to fuck with the truck, like, you honk the horn, and he comes out and he shoots the dude, and he's like, well, I can't say that you got away fucking my shit without at least getting shot and shoot the other guy in the leg.
He shot the guy in the ass. I really liked where this is a small moment, and we're not just gonna like rehash like every small moment, because there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, but I just want to talk about everything that I love in this movie.
Yeah, but I like when he's telling that girl to watch his truck, and he's like, I'll give you 10 cents. And she's like, okay. And he's like, no, it's not okay. Like that. We're talking numbers now. So now you need to like make a counter offer. So he's like teaching her how to like negotiate. And it's like that was his like best save the cat moment. That's the moment that makes you really like this guy.
It's very clear that Smoke and Stack, a big part of why they're doing this is to like bring their community together.
Yeah.
And to like have a, like, you know, we need to have a place for our people to.
Yeah, they care about these people.
Know, exactly. And it's, you know, and the whole first half of this movie does such a great job at making you give a shit about all these people. To when shit hits the fan, you really care. You know, some movies are bad at that.
I like pretty much every character.
Yeah. Some other characters we get introduced. An important character, which I don't know if I necessarily still have mixed feelings on this character. So we get introduced to Mary, played by Haley Steinfeld, in this movie, who is basically she's 1/8 black. The character is like she's like my granddaddy is. And like I didn't know this until I looked it up afterwards. But Haley Steinfeld herself is actually 1/8 black, so it's
perfect.
Accurate casting there. And I remember watching the movie, I was like, I don't buy this shit. No, I mean she plays an important role in the movie. I think at the end she has this history with Stack. They grew, the important things that Haley Steinfeld's mother basically raised Smoke and Stack from when they were little kids, and she grew up with them, and she grew up in this community. She's very white passing, but she loves Stack. So, something that like sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, go for it. That was
I was just gonna say the first scene where she appears and she's talking. She goes at this train station, this like mixed, where there's white and black people running around. She immediately goes up to Stack and starts being like, "When you ate my pussy," and shit, like talking about their sexual history. And I'm like, "You can get this motherfucker killed."
Yeah, do you know what you're risking right now for this guy? Like,
stop.
This is. Yeah, I don't know if. Yeah, you saying this stuff, you're not risking your life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing as far as like when that first happened, I was like, I don't know if I didn't necessarily know in that moment if I bought that character would be as open about that in that environment.
Yeah.
But like at that point we didn't know that they grew up together, and I guess
and she grew up with all these people.
Yeah, so like she really is treated like, like she really is a part of the family. Yeah. So like I think when I see this movie again and I see that scene, it's not going to bother me as much for that reason. But during that first viewing, that is something that I'm like, whoa, this doesn't seem.
Yeah,
like she wouldn't be doing that. Yeah. She's gonna. One of the things that the trailer spoils, like the second trailer for this movie shows her as a vampire, like straight up.
Yeah, and it's a big bad spoiler.
It's a big bad spoiler, and it's a thing where it's like we knew that like going into this movie, like that like a good amount of these characters are going to turn, but like specifically how important, like she's like one of the four, she's like in the core main characters, and like the fact that the trailer immediately shows you that is like, I don't know, it definitely cheapens it when she does turn, because it's kind of like no shit.
Yeah.
Let's see. We talked about Delta Slim earlier.
Yep, love him.
Slim is cool.
Smoke's ex-wife.
Yes, Annie.
That his baby died.
Mm-hmm. Find out that they had a child, and she's also like a I forget if they say if she's like a voodoo.
Yeah. Like
doc, like she's
kind
like
of
has
spiritual like.
She's like a spiritual leader background. I don't know this specific.
I'm a big fan of like this whole like the old South having just like more where it's like the last part of Western culture where magic is just real. Like
That's true.
It's like it was before everything. It made me want to watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou again. We watched it. It's kind of a similar. I saw someone online oversimplify this movie to be like it's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou meets Midnight Mass.
They could have run into Tommy Johnson. Sold my soul to the vampires.
Yeah. It's like, but Oh Brother, Art Thou has that same like it's like super like music focused. There's like always some like old timey music playing. But this is, I think, I enjoyed this a little bit better.
Yeah, than something like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. It's for me, it's a more complete. It's a more complete product.
Not to say I don't love that movie, which I do.
Yeah, Brother, Where Art Thou is great, but I view Oh Brother, Where Art Thou as a lot more of like a straight comedy. as far as like, this was really funny.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like that setting of like magic is just kind of a part of life, and like it's just there are like paranormal things out there that you can't really argue against because like no one has like the internet.
Yeah.
Like everyone can have an opinion on this shit, and they're all valid. I mean, it's like the last point in history where that was true.
Yeah,
widespread, and it's cool. It's like it makes the setting feel mad because it also makes people a lot quicker to accept that these are just straight up vampires.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like once, what is it? Annie is the one who's the expert on that. Once the supernatural shit starts happening, and it's one of those things too where it's like it also makes sense why they don't immediately know the rules of vampirism because it isn't like you said, like it's at this point in time they wouldn't be something that they encounter every day.
Yeah, they're out there.
But they're out there doing their shit. But yeah, no, just I agree with what you're saying as far as it is the last period in recent history where magic is just like a commonly accepted.
It's just real. Yeah.
Yeah, people just assume. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, talking about what else? So they get to the juke joint, they clean out the place real nice, it's real cute. And then let's talk about the goddamn, sorry. Fucking the sickness, the evil spirits are coming for me.
He's disturbed.
Yeah. But so that reminds me, something that me and Courtney in the car afterwards when we were talking like what real life artist could summon the future and past spirits. Like Freddie Mercury definitely up there.
Yeah. David Bowie.
Yeah, David Bowie. Hendrix for sure. But basically
for sure.
What's his name? Sammy starts playing his blues music, and it's a really his voice is kicking in. The whole club's getting into it, and we get
the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, really just cool, innovate. Really, the most like artful scene. Like we get it's magical realism. Like really, it's like basically to describe the scene, like which at this point I hope that you've already seen this movie. But if you're here for some reason, me describing it does not do it justice.
Yeah, see it before you hear this part.
Yeah, but basically, we get a little bit of a repeat of the intro dialogue from Annie where she describes like some people like can make music so beautiful it brings spirits from the past, and as she says that we see like some like tribal drummers, like African tribal drummers come in and from the future, and we see like some Eddie Hazel looking 80s guitar player dude roll in.
Yeah, no, it's and everyone's like what? And
it pans over. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, it pans over and there's a dude spinning turntables and stuff like all in this club, and we see dancers and people from all these like different eras of black music like that are the spirits from all throughout time that have come in, and it's just it almost that itself almost makes it kind of sci-fi.
I think there was also some because there's the Chinese couple there. I think there was also like some Chinese dancers and like musicians and stuff. Yeah. It's like geisha, it's connecting everybody to their ancestors. It's great. I thought that was an interesting touch.
Yeah, no, it was a really cool, really beautiful representation of kind of that. And even there's a line before that, which honestly, like really a line that like it was a really simple line, but it hit me hard. Where Delta Slim basically says there's like a little bit of a flashback where he's talking to Sammy before he performs, and he tells him like music, that spirit, it's something that we brought. It's not something that was forced on us like religion. It's something that we brought here. Yep. And no, it was just like that scene was just a really cool way to visually show that. And they bring the house down, like you see
the music. The music's great. Like you in the audience are like nodding along too. Yeah, and it's like shifting in between different eras, and you see like people from modern day, people from like the 90s. You see like break dancers and shit. Yeah. And I wasn't expecting anything that interesting to be in this movie, to be honest.
Yeah,
and
it was
I
was gonna say it was a really artistic moment, and I wonder if that scene was like put on the chopping floor or not, just because like it's the best
scene for me.
Yeah. And it's a scene that like I've seen some people who weren't in love with this movie, it didn't work for them. Some people found it silly, or
I mean,
like
I'd be interested to hear like their opinion.
I think they're just not cool.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Or rather, like, this
I don't understand. I don't know how you couldn't like this. Like, it's or like what problem? Like, at the very least, I don't really understand what problem someone could have with it. Like, it really took me out of the movie, but it's literally contextualized as like this is like a power that he has.
Yeah, I think it's a thing where like
they explain it twice.
They do explain it twice, literally, and once like during the moment, and it's like it's edited very like the moment she says "future," the electric guitar dude shows up. I'm like, okay, I get it. But something that I think a certain kind of viewer I think that there is a certain kind of viewer that will go into this movie only there for like, I just want to see vampires get killed. Like, they're going just for like a simple kind of genre experience like that, and like, whereas this movie, that is there, but what is on offer and what it is a movie that demands that you are paying attention and that you are engaging with
so
it.
They're not
I think
cool, like you said.
Yeah, people who aren't cool, people who aren't. It almost reminds me of. Have you seen Arrival with Amy Adams?
Yeah, I love Arrival.
I went and saw Arrival with my buddy Seth, and he just thought it was boring, and I'm like, "You stupid motherfucker!"
I had the exact same experience. A guy I went to was like, "Nah, I thought it was just kind of boring." The worst part was he said like he had looked up the synopsis on Wikipedia beforehand. I'm like, why would you do that? Why would I regret coming here with you now?
We're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
Seth, if you're out there, hope you got better taste in movies now. We're not friends anymore for different reasons. I don't think he listens to the show. I'm not worried about it.
It's okay, even if he does.
Yeah. But no, just really, really cool scene. Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, no, like, and like you just said, like it makes total sense within the world. It's a scene that I think people are going to be talking about, and it's a scene that makes me excited to see what else Ryan Coogler is going to do.
Yeah.
Within the kind of the world of genre, and seeing like just his, because right now, this being his fifth movie, two of his other movies being big Marvel films.
Yeah,
like,
he got out of the Marvel mines.
Yeah, I think we're gonna eventually see, like, a lot of people have been comparing this to, like, after Christopher Nolan made the Dark Knight trilogy, he came out with Inception.
Yeah,
and I think that if this movie Sinners is successful, we could see Ryan Coogler go into a similar kind of direction where, like, we'll see what other kind of original content.
Yeah, I'm excited.
He can bring. Yeah, which may be talking him up, but like, I think that he's that good. But yeah, so as far as that scene happens, it's great. And that scene,
and then we get our first vampire encounter.
Yeah, the first vampire. Well, it's not the first vampire encounter. Earlier, we got introduced. I didn't talk about
with
the
main characters.
Yeah, with the main characters. Yeah, it attracts the vampires. Earlier, we see Remick running away from some indigenous vampire hunters. Which, by the way, that's its own spinoff. Like, we don't even get there. We don't.
Those
even get
are like the Swedes from the beginning of the thing.
Exactly. Yeah, the Norwegians.
Yeah, Norwegians. Apologies.
Funny you mentioned the Thing,
Swedes.
because I was watching an interview with Ryan Coogler, and Ryan Coogler said The Thing is his favorite horror film.
There's a few points in this movie that, like, all right, this guy likes The Thing.
You're right, and you literally said earlier, like, the Thing moment with the garlic. That's a good point. Yeah. If they would ever, by God, do a remake of The Thing,
yeah, because I said that it's like this, like, the Native Americans or the indigenous people were they were the Norwegians. Like, they were the ones who were dealing with this before, and now they've passed it on to the main characters.
Period. But yeah, Remick is running away from them. The sun's going down, and you see his skin being all burnt and stuff. Yeah. And, like, immediately I was like, oh shit, vampires coming. And he rolls up to the door of these two Klansmen.
People. Yeah,
these two racist white people. He sees the Klan's robes on the bed. He sneaks his way in. He turns both of them. It's the first like real horror sequence is like the wife is the one out there talking to the indigenous guys at the door, and they're all warning them like, yeah, listen,
They're
he's
like,
not what
you
he
didn't
seems.
let him into your home, did you?
You didn't tell him he could come in, like giving us the rules. And like I said, I want to see what these guys' history with vampire, like how long have they been hunting vampires, like what's that's another thing I want to see more from. I totally think you could do more with this universe. I think that this is a unique take on vampires and on mythology and magic.
I think it's just a testament to how well these characters and concepts are presented, to where it makes you interested and curious about them. It keeps the interest. I think it's just a well-made movie in that sense.
Yeah, and they don't explain everything. Like a lot of what we talked about with the way vampires work, we just kind of figure out on our own.
Yeah,
and like we kind of put it together, which is the smarter way to do it. But so they get the racist. It's a scary scene. We cut back to the bar, or the juke joint, and the vampires are attracted by the music. They initially try to get in. They do a creepy little song.
Yeah, they do a corny, stupid song to make themselves look unintimidating.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny.
You can tell that they're very talented, but this is not the music for this place.
Yeah, another thing, this movie is surprisingly funny too. Now that I think about it,
yeah, it is.
It's got a solid sense, but all the humor is just like it feels just like real people who've known each other for years, like joking at each other. Like it makes sense.
No, yeah, it's. I would get annoyed with the little jokes, but the tone of this movie isn't entirely self-serious all the time, which it's not quite Marvel, where it can't take itself seriously for 2 seconds. This movie still is. It's got a real emotional impact, and the humor is used like very effectively. Yeah,
it's a bit of an elevated universe. There's definitely like, especially when we get to the epilogue, which like. That's another thing. I love the epilogue, and I think to myself, like, but how much does it make sense versus like how much?
Yeah.
Like
what does it add? Yeah.
We'll get to it. Yeah. But yeah, they don't let the vampires in, not because they're vampires, but because they're creepy white people. When we're back in the club, there's some politics going on inside the club about like Smoke and Stack wanting to operate the joint differently. Like some people can't afford to pay for their drinks, but it's like, these people are sharecroppers that don't make a lot of money, and and basically they kind of talk about like, oh, we need to bring more money in, and they kind of Mary suggests like, oh, okay, well, what about those white folks? Like maybe they can, they say they got money to spend.
Yeah.
And she goes and talks to them because she's white passing.
And they sing a really cool Irish song.
They do.
It sounds really nice.
Yeah. Remick slips her some fucking gold coins, some gold doubloons.
Yeah, he's got the doubloons from a far off land.
Yep.
This is. It's also like, it's like I was saying before. I think it's interesting because like they can't come in, like they need to be invited in. So it's I've never seen a vampire movie like use that as effectively, and you can tell like that's probably like one of the major deciding factors as to why they used vampires, because like they're gonna try to seem unthreatening, they're gonna try to seem like friendly and like, why can't we all just get along? Which works really well for the theme. Like it's perfect. They're gonna try like to manipulate you into feeling like you're the bad guy for not letting them in.
100%. Honestly, the vampires make some solid points towards the end.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. That gets revealed later.
It's enticing.
100%. But they turn Mary. Mary comes back to the club. The bouncer guy, I forget his name. He's a fun character. Cornbread, played by Omar Benson Miller. Who I've seen him in other shit. He's a big dude. He's the voice of Raphael on Rise of the
Cool.
But he lets her in. She's all vampired up and she's being all sexy. That's another thing too. This movie's so horny.
Oh my god, there's like 5 sex scenes.
Yeah, it's really
they linger too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it all kind of is wrapped up in the whole thing of like music and temptation and like how lust is it's all packaged in there. And Sinners as a title
Yep.
You know, like it's all in there. But yeah, Haley Steinfeld grabs Stack, takes him into the back room,
Eats him. Eats him.
Eats him. First she spits in his mouth, which is his own thing. But yeah,
which made me like shudder, by the way, because he was into that.
Yeah,
she hocked a whole loogie into his mouth, and it's supposed to be sexy. That shit grossed me out.
And you're just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a whole, a lot of fluids. The vampire, something I've seen people say is like the vampire's mouth drool was like,
it was,
they have very thick vampire drool. Yeah. So she turns, she eats Stack. He's seemingly dead. She runs out. And there's a really sad scene with Smoke, and he's like holding Stack, and and
you were the best part of me.
Michael B. Jordan's fucking crushing. Michael B. Jordan definitely, like, his performances, he's perfect. You really feel this.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, you with in every aspect of both of these characters, but long story short, not to kind of go in the there's a big period in this section where we're kind of like the characters are figuring out what's going on. Like, they kick most of the people out because they think someone's died, and like they all get turned outside. And there's like a little scene with Cornbread that's pretty funny where Cornbread's been turned and he's trying to get back in.
Yeah, and he's like kind of one of the dumber characters, so it's like he's trying his best to convince them to let him in,
but it's just not working.
As they're interrogating him, his arguments just make less and less sense. Well, I just went in there because, like, man, his brother just died, so like we got to get in there and do what we need to do. And they're like, "What do we need to do?" Just let me in.
Yeah, no, just fuck it, just let me in. Yeah, no, he's really not making super solid arguments, but he's trying. But yeah, no, there's a lot of that back and forth. An important sequence to say, kind of in this, during this section of the movie, which we're kind of in the middle. Second half ish. Remick reveals to the remaining people in the juke joint that hey, so because the vampires all share the hive mind, they know what the clan people that they absorb know, in that they know that the Hogwood, whatever the fuck his name was, Hogwood was planning on coming the next day to kill. Kill them and to destroy the juke joint. Like, the clan was like, they were never going to let them, Hogwood is the leader, like the local leader.
Yep.
Grand Wizard, whatever.
The Grand Wizard.
And Remick starts making some really good arguments as to like, hey man, like, we're all just about equality. Yeah. These white people ain't going to give you what you want. Like, you join us and like, we're all together. We don't discriminate.
Yeah, we'll go over there and kill them tonight. Yeah.
We're gonna go eat some fucking white people then. And he's making some fucking solid points.
Yeah, like, hey, it's very enticing. Vampires,
but at least we're not racist. And it's a thing where it's like, it's a little bit part of me is like, this might be my own personal, like, just trying to think what would I do in this situation necessarily thing, but like, it's a little bit unclear to me. Like I said, I don't even necessarily think of it as a complaint, because like I think that you don't necessarily need to know. I think it's supposed to be kind of gray. How much of the original people, like of the human people's self is in there versus the vampire? It seems, especially as we get kind of towards the end when we see Smoke and Stack talking after Stack has been turned. It seems like, this is me, this is Stack talking, but I want you with me as my vampire brother.
I think you retain your brain and your personality, but then just like your priorities are corrupted is what I got. Like you basically, just to make it super simple, you just become evil. You're only interested in assimilating people.
Dungeons and Dragons, your alignment is switched.
Yeah,
lawful good becomes chaotic evil.
You just become a hungry, hateful person.
Yeah,
but you're also and you think the only way to happiness is through assimilating everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I buy that more than what I was trying. I was trying to.
That's my interpretation.
I've been trying to think about it more in terms of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I hope, that makes more sense to me. But we get basically I forget her name, the Chinese shop owner,
This is
Grace
after
Chow.
Stack Turns, by the way. This is
Stack
after
Turns?
Stack. Yeah.
After
before.
Stack.
Yeah.
Yes, this is after Stack Turns. Remick and the vampires basically threaten Grace. They're like, "Hey, we know where your daughter is right now because they have her husband, and we're going to go pay her a visit."
Yeah.
And understandably so. I was trying to think, like, what is going to make these people let the vampires in? And I mean, it totally tracks because, like, this mom is like, I'm not going to let
She's a
them.
mother. Yeah. The one thing that's more important to her than anything else is being threatened. So.
Period.
And they also like torment her with using the power of music. They just irritate her to the point of giving up.
Oh yeah, when they do the Irish the Irish jig. Yeah, which great musical sequence in and of itself.
Yeah.
And one of the cool, I remember like there's a really cool just moment in there where like after the jig is done, all the vampires come together. You just see all the vampire mouths in the darkness.
Yeah.
It's just mouths and eyes.
Yeah,
in this,
it's cool as hell.
Vampires
can be really cool.
Yeah, no, the design of their eyes and of the way that like their eyes glow more when they're in shadow. Like you were mentioning Blade Runner, it's that exact Blade Runner kind of like bioluminescent thing. So we have a big showdown with all the vampires. We get our which it's not a super long sequence, but we get some vampire actions done well. We lose a lot of the characters.
It was okay. I feel like I was a little underwhelmed with the actual like big fight scene because it honestly just didn't feel like that's what the movie was built for, and it felt like that felt kind of obligatory for the rest of the movie because for me anyway, like it's like now we're gonna fight these guys, like physical like fisticuffs fight these vampires.
And
then
you liked it better when it was a bit more of a battle of wits type deal.
I agree. It's like this isn't really an action movie, and this action is kind of underwhelming anyway. So that was my biggest complaint for the movie, is just that scene felt underwhelming.
Yeah, not memorable.
Yeah,
that's fair. But it's pretty short. Like the vampires come in and wreck house pretty quickly. What's his name? Sammy destroys his guitar while hitting Remick, and it's a bit of a quick little, like, the sun comes up and Remick and most of the other vampires get all burnt.
Yep.
And later
Remick has the coolest death scene I've ever seen a monster have.
Oh yeah, it's pretty sick. The design of like how
he's full on like Nosferatu by the end too. Like his nails are super long. He's all bloodied up and scarred and cut open.
That's true. Like it looks like he's kind of like the more he gets damaged, the more mutated and vampire he gets.
And these vampires, they go for the face, by the way. Like they'll eat your face. Like they all have like big like flesh wounds on their face, like when they're not like fully masking.
Yeah. No,
it's cool as fuck.
These vampires are nasty. They don't give a fuck. They're a lot more like, I'm a big fan of my vampires being more beast-like in general.
Yeah, I like them as monsters. Yeah.
It feels more like an infection or something almost. Like have you ever seen which future Midnight Movie Gang episode? The remake of Fright Night?
No.
Where like basically it's this teenage kid, a vampire moves in next door and the vampire's trying to
original.
Yeah, the remake is surprisingly really good, but the vampires are treated more like fucking, I don't know, ants or like, so like they literally like it's like an underground colony like dug below, like a vampire creature colony dug underneath his house and stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of vampires being more
there's just so much you can do with them as a concept, like Nosferatu, like just being like the embodiment of like human misery and dread too, like almost like a like a hate golem or something. Like there's so much you can do with the concept. There's a reason we keep getting movies about them.
Yeah,
and then you can also have Twilight, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the thing too is like I feel like vampires. A reason why we keep getting new vampire content is because, as a whole, and this isn't. I mean, this movie too, but like the vampires across cultures have always kind of represented, like, historically, we're talking about the origin of like medieval European vampires. it was always a thing of like, this is just the rich people. These are rich people that are literally like sucking the life of the poor. You know, and vampires being like they are so rich, and these aristocrats are like
they feed on you.
So little of us that they feed on us, and like that is something that feels more relevant than ever now.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so it makes sense why we're getting those stories. You can argue how much this movie taps into that. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna be able to have a much better handle on the themes and the.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on thematically. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm excited for this. The Blu-ray is going to come out. It's a Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is good at putting out Blu-rays. Plus, like with how much Ryan Coogler cares about like the film and the real. Actually, Michael B. Jordan is kind of a proponent of physical media as well. He's done some in the same realm as Christopher Nolan. Like I hope this gets a big old fancy Blu-ray with commentaries and special features galore, because I definitely want to see more about how they put this together, especially with subtitles. The last thing to pretty much talk about is that so Sammy. Oh wait, well,
there's a couple. There's two final scenes. Yeah.
And by the way, there is a post credit scene that we missed.
Oh shit!
I found
That's
out.
obnoxious.
It's not huge, but it wasn't essential.
I don't know that. So like, I don't know why, but I was a little irritated with the mid credit scene and the fact that there's a post credit scene, because like it's already. It's like, can we remove the Marvel virus from our movies, please? Can we make just movies that end at the credits? I don't know why that's bug. It's just because I've seen it so many times and I'm just so burnt out on this formula.
I just don't think that we needed that to be like a mid-credit. Like, I think that like just have it cut off as like epilogue.
It's just the final scene of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Which we'll get to in a second. The last important scene before that is the clan shows up the next morning, and Smoke is waiting out.
Smoke fucking slaughters them.
Just rips them to shreds with his World War I skills.
With his Tommy gun and his And honestly, like, this is another scene that was ruined for me with the trailer. Like,
That's true. You see a little bit of it in the trailer.
Yeah, the scene of Stack becoming a vampire was ruined. I wish I hadn't known that going into it. And this scene, because I remember in the trailer I saw Michael B. Jordan sitting there, and I was like, that right there is an end of the movie tank top that he's wearing, and the sun is up, so that's after everything happens. So that's the end of the movie.
Next morning.
Yeah. And then I saw him with the Tommy gun, and it's like, well, I haven't seen that yet, and that was in daytime, so I know that happens at some point, and he's firing at someone in broad daylight, so it's probably the clan. So trailers, man, can we make them a little more abstract?
Yeah, I imagine that Ryan Coogler didn't have a lot of control over the very first trailer for this movie barely even showed any vampires. Now that I remember, and I feel like it should have just been that. But yeah, no, he kills these Klansmen, and then as he's dying, he sees a vision of Annie and his dead baby in the afterlife, and he joins them in the afterlife type deal.
But not before. But the way it does it was really funny to me, because he's got the Grand Wizard on the ground, and he's holding a Tommy gun to him, and he's like, "You got to smoke." And he says, the Grand Wizard says something racist to an effect of no.
Yeah.
He just reloads. He reloads. He puts a new magazine in the Tommy gun, and the guy gives him a cigarette, and he just like sits down, and he sees the spirits of his dead wife and kid. And we as the audience are sitting there like, so is he not gonna empty that magazine into that Klansman? And the movie hears us and goes, of course he is. And we see him do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, thank God.
Something that is very simple and satisfying. I like the fact that this movie does not mince words when it comes to the political fact of, like, these Klansmen just being murdered is solid.
Yes.
Good thing.
There's a reason in Red Dead 2 you don't get an honor penalty for slaughtering those guys.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
We as a society just need to accept that they suck.
Me and Courtney were watching Inglourious Bastards a few weeks ago, and I'm like, it's nice to see Nazis unapologetically just being evil.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to just have, That's the key to Tarantino movies too. Is like you can have all these people get slaughtered, and it can be satisfying if you know they're just horrible. There's zombies, Klansmen, Nazis. There's
vampires. Period.
Yeah, slave owners. Like
fuck them all. Honestly, I would have. Yeah, no. Honestly, I would have rather just dealt with the vampires in this movie than the fucking Klan. But that's But yeah, so that scene, it's the end of Smoke. And then we get this kind of mid-credits epilogue, which
was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. For me, I thought it was a beautiful cap in terms of like, so basically I think that it just shouldn't have been I think it should have just been the epilogue before the credits started. It didn't need to be intercut. There are people who were leaving, the theater. But basically, it cuts to 1992. And we see old Sammy being played by blues man Buddy Guy.
He's got a club that he owns.
He's got a club. He's playing at the club. He's playing. He had a successful music career, a long life of bringing his music out there.
He's got his big horror vampire scar that he carries around.
He's got his big horror, which I'm sure was made some badass album covers. For really distinct look. Yeah, that's old vampire Scar Sam.
Yeah. He's got a big claw mark on his face. God knows where that's from.
What do you think he told people throughout? Because I'm sure every interview he got, so how'd you get those fucking that giant...
Yeah, it was fucking vampires. No one believes me. Goofy Sammy.
He probably
I tell everybody it was vampire that gave me this.
Yeah, but it would be funny. He says it was vampires, and then people are like, "Oh, Sammy, you kidder."
Yeah, no one believes him.
Yeah, that'd be funny. But yeah, no. So he's got his big vampire scar, and basically after the kind of the credits are done crediting, we see him at the bar, the club. It's like after it's like the end of the night, and and it's the 90s. In walks, vampire Stack and Mary.
These in their 90s ass vampires.
Their 90s ass garbs. Fucking Stack has like a flat cut haircut and these big ass Stack rings, which I think that's Courtney's prop. He
looks fucking sick. Yeah.
He does look fucking sick. He's got a great fucking sweater.
He's got his sunglasses. He looks fucking sick.
Yep, and Haley Steinfeld is wearing this just 90s leather.
Looks 90s as well. Yeah.
Get up. And something that I'm going to speak here. This is just something for me. Just something I like the idea that, man, they got to be together. They got to spend.
There's something
this
nice
long
about it.
Vampire. I'm sure they were happy when Loving v. Virginia got turned over. The actual Sinners spinoff movie I want is Vampire Mary and Stack going around killing Klansmen. Not even turning them into vampires, just going around murdering Klansmen.
It's a good companion comic.
Yeah, it'd be a great comic. But yeah, they roll in to see, and I remember
and they come in and they're like, "Hey, we're not going to kill you, by the way."
Yeah, basically, Stack tells them Smoke made me promise not to, let you live your whole life. And then there's a bunch of little details in the scene I really like something that I caught. Stack gets real close to Sammy and he sniffs him, he gives him a, and he's like, "Well, you're not going to last that long." Yeah, you're gonna die soon. Which I'm like, ugh, what are you smelling on me?
Please don't smell me.
And he offers, Sammy, and something, just even the idea that they were still out there supporting him. He tells him we own all your records, we've been following you, your music career. And I was like, oh, this is a nice reunion.
It's like a reunion, yeah.
It's a nice fucked up.
You see that your friends get to stay young forever. It's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just I don't know. And then they ask Sammy. They're like, "Yeah, the old records sound like shit. Could you play the real thing for us?" And he whips out the old guitar, which is my obvious prop.
Yep.
And plays them a song. And then the only thing I would change about how this ends is so Stack offers Sammy to turn him into a vampire. He's like, "Listen, I can make it so that you can keep playing, you keep touring, you don't have to end this."
Yeah.
And Sammy's like, "Nah, just I'm good with, I've been around long enough," type deal. And then Stack and Mary, leave. And I think that's where they should have ended it.
Yeah.
But they added this little bit where Sammy's like, "Wait, Stack." He's like, "I want you to know, like, that was the best day of my life.
Yep.
Like, before all that vampire shit happened.
Before the worst night of my life, it was the best day of my life."
Yeah. And Stack was like, "Yeah, me too." And I don't know. I feel like you just didn't need that little.
Yeah, we probably could have gotten that. And then there's like a little montage of them. This movie does reiterate itself a few times.
It hammers it home for sure. I really like the thing I like about the epilogue is that I think it puts a really nice bow onto Sammy's story.
Yeah.
Like I think that it gives
to see where he ended up.
I like the idea of like you get to like you get a really satisfying ending with this character. I do think it's a tad clunky. Like it's a bit like it's so tough because I love it as its own
marvelized
thing. Yeah, it's a bit Marvel. I love it as its own thing, and I think that like, and I like the ideas it puts out there in my head as far as like, oh, Stack and Mary have been, being cool. Vampires. It just as far as like it. The movie would have been fine without it. Is what I'm trying to say. Like you could have.
Yeah, I agree. What happens in the post-credit scene?
The post-credit scene is literally just literally it doesn't even say it on Wikipedia. I've seen the clip on TikTok, like people recorded in the theater. It's just young Sammy playing one more song. Like he's in the church and he has his guitar, and he just plays one more little song, and that's the post-credit scene. Not necessarily to the story. Like we definitely didn't miss anything story-wise by missing it, but like
it's just nice to have another song.
I kind of assumed that it wouldn't be there because like, well, you already gave us kind of a after credit scene
with another song.
Yeah, but another song was cool.
This is a musical, by the way. I don't know if we made that clear. There's music throughout this whole thing, and the movie it like indulges in it. It's great.
It's literally a musical. Music is an important theme. You couldn't do. You could do without the vampires in this movie, but you couldn't do without music.
No, the movie would have sucked without music.
Yeah. As far as like, that's Sinners. We've talked about how much we really like it. Got and see it. I think that we have said it's damn good. It has those little problems. It has those like it might be like a little
aren't even worth mentioning. Just little technical things.
The stuff that this movie does well vastly exceeds any like little shortcomings we've mentioned.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk just a little bit about I just really hope this movie does well. I mean,
it's not like this is like a little indie darling or anything. This movie cost $100 million to make. But as a replacement for Marvel, which seems like we need, I like this direction a lot.
100%. I think I read somewhere that the movie needs to make like about 200 million to break even.
Yep.
It's projected to make between 40 and 50 million this opening weekend. It's Saturday night has still yet to happen. So, next episode we'll catch up on it. But Mickey 17 was essentially didn't make its budget back.
Nope.
But I do think that this movie has more going for it, marketing wise. I think it's a more digestible movie for people to kind of because
got a lot of good word of mouth.
Yeah,
already convinced Avery's parents to see it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
you can tell people like, Michael B. Jordan fights vampires in Jim Crow South. I'm like, cool. But Mickey 17, you have to be like, it's like it's in the future, and like Robert Pattinson is like
about capitalism, but like it's also like a comedy about the guy that dies over and over, and it's got these aliens.
It's got these like big alien mole things, and like it's a whole it's this movie is easier to sell, in my opinion.
Yes, it is better concept.
And let's go to props. I feel like it's this. I do want to pick one other than the guitar.
So I'm gonna cheat. I know you're picking his guitar. I'm picking the broken neck of the guitar from the end of the movie.
That's fair. Just like have that on your wall.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool with blood on it or something.
That's fair. People be like, "What's that from?" It's like, "Oh, that's when I fought vampires." In the 30s. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. There are a lot of good instruments. Maybe fucking remix banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's there's a lot. I guess I'll stick with. Actually, I remember initially what I actually wanted was what I actually want is the future Guitar Man's like in that scene, his like the future suit where
his
he's not
whole
supposed to be.
outfit. Yeah.
I think that he mostly looked like something out of you ever heard of the group Funkadelic?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or like, yeah,
Yeah, he looked like someone out of Funkadelic.
Parliament.
Yeah, he kind of looked like Bootsy Collins to me. Googling that, there's some elements in there. Yeah, future space age.
Yeah, that's exactly the vibe.
Yeah, but that dude's whole getup. I liked his whole getup.
Yeah,
including his. That's what I want for my thing. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's Sinners. Go see it. And you know what? We didn't
Sinners.
mention From Dusk Till Dawn like at all.
No.
Yeah, this movie. Really, let's see if it'll be.
There's really not all that much it has in common.
With From Dusk Till Dawn, no, not really. Just aside from the fact it's vampires in a club. That's kind of it goes.
Yeah.
This movie is not going to beat Minecraft. Minecraft has almost made it's Minecraft's second or third weekend right now, and it's almost made $300 million.
How is it making so much money? Everyone, I remember when the trailer for that dropped, and everyone was like, "This movie looks like the worst movie ever made." And now
people are going for the memes, bro.
Yeah, it's great, destroying the theater even more than it already is. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, people have been. I've heard
so funny, dude. It's so funny to go and make minimum wage employees fucking clean up your popcorn, and it's so funny. Please don't do that if you're watching it. It's not funny. It's lame.
According to Wikipedia, Minecraft has made over $600 million, more than $500 million.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
So fucking crazy. If I were working in the movie theater, when people come up for tickets for Minecraft, I'd just like, Sinners. Oh, well, yeah, it just says Sinners. Don't worry, just go to Minecraft.
Just go see. Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the depressing fact of the day is Minecraft is blowing up.
Yeah. But, yeah, folks, go check out Sinners. Support mid to high budget original films because that's what we need.
Yes.
Let's kill the Marvel beast.
Yes.
But yeah. This has been Midnight Movie Gang. Thanks so much for listening. It's currently 7:22 p.m. Night Movie Gang. You can follow us on Instagram at Midnight Movie Gang, YouTube at Midnight Movie Gang Podcast, and yeah, have a nice night. Goodbye.
Yep. Bye.
So here we go. The childish frustrations and complexes which the police are searching for James Thomas, believed to be the lover of Dave Williams, and her partner in the horrible murder of Walter. Grant everybody that I'm here to hold on. Oh, please tell me where they've gone. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. How could I got in here? 3 tickets to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you think?